What's up, y'all? God showed me something, and He wants me to share it with you. Why He can do it, and you can't. Testimony of two witnesses. Let's dig into that. Watch this. Okay, some people will go here to try to prove two persons, but I'm going to show you something that's going to blow your mind. You might have never heard this before because this all came to me by revelation of the scriptures given to me by God Himself. Let me show you what He showed me, and then you can take it or leave it. It's up to you, but you sure won't be able to deny it. All right, John 8, verse 12. Let's just begin there. Then Jesus spoke to them again, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. Okay? Let's continue from verse 13. The Pharisees therefore said to him, You bear witness of yourself. Your witness is not true. And Jesus answered and said to them, Even if I bear witness of myself, my witness is true. And here's why. For I know where I came from. Keep that in mind. I know where I came from. That's what he's talking about. When it comes to bearing witness of himself, I know where I came from and where I am going. But you do not know where I came from and where I'm going. You judge according to the flesh. If I judge no one. And yet, if I do judge, my judgment is true. Here's why. For I am not alone, but I am with the Father who sent me. All right? So we got the Father and we got the Son. That's it. Nobody else. Father and Son. Let's look at this. It is written in your law that the testimony of two men is true. Now, this is where some will try to go to try to prove two separate persons and say, oh, the Father and Son are two separate persons. Look, it says two. Let me show you something. I'm going to show you why he can bear record of himself and also be the Father, and why that won't be the same thing if you try to do it. Let me show you. Look, let's continue. Verse 18. I'm trying to hold the phone and read it through the phone so you can see it. I am one who bears witness of myself, and the Father who sent me bears witness of me. Now, right there, they will say, well, see, look, he says, I am one, and my Father who bears witness of me, that's another. Ain't that two? Two of something. But I'm going to show you all of it's him and why it's acceptable for him to bear record of himself and why he can do it. And that won't be the same thing if you do it. Because many would just say, well, that's the flesh bearing record to the spirit. That's just the flesh and the spirit. Oh, no, it's more than the flesh and the spirit. I'm going to show you what makes enough separation for him to be able to do that, and why you can't do that, and why it's not the same thing as your spirit bearing record of your flesh. Watch this. Watch this. Okay. I am one who bears witness of myself, and the Father who sent me bears witness of me. Now, watch this. What many of you fail to realize is it's not just talking about flesh and spirit. It's talking about Father and Son. Now, let me put this on you. If you were to try to do this, let's say your spirit bearing record of your flesh, the reason why you can't do that is because this is why it won't work with you. It won't work with you if you do that, because your spirit's not your father. And your flesh is not your own son. But his spirit is his own father. And his flesh is his own son. So the terms father and son applying to him, and it being in him being his own father in one way and him being his own son in another way, makes him both creator and creature. Now with you, watch this. I told you this is just revelation that came to me directly from God. I asked him for it. With you, there's no part of you that's creator. Everything about you is creature. And you're not responsible for nothing about your existence. So your existence, your complete existence, is outside of you. There's no part of you that you created. And there's no part of you that's creator of yourself in no kind of way. So we have to look outside of you in order to determine how you got here, spirit, soul, and body. So everything about you was created. So all of you is creation. We can only use creational terms when it comes to you. We can't use creator. You're not your own father. You're not your own son. Now, with him, it's not just flesh and spirit. Here's what you got to not miss. It's more than flesh and spirit. With him, his flesh and spirit is father and son. So because it's father and son, there's relational terms that are between the two. And because of those relational terms that he holds, that causes enough separation in order for him to function as two different witnesses, but yet be one person. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? So with him, he's the spirit of the Father, which is creator. I'm going to say it again. He's the spirit of the Father, which is creator. And with him, he created his own humanity. Now, he used a woman to make his humanity, but the woman didn't make him. He used a woman and made his own humanity out of the woman. So what he made out of the woman, that holds the title son, not just flesh. Same thing when he prayed, when Jesus prayed to the Father. Many would just say, oh, that's just the flesh that prayed to the spirit. No, it's more than the flesh prayed to the spirit. It's the flesh prayed to the spirit, but it's also the creature prayed to the creator. It's also the son prayed to the Father. There's relational terms there. Do you see? So the relational terms, the relationship terms between father and son, that's what he's bringing up. Father and son. Even when he mentions he bears witness of himself, he mentions he knows where he came from, which would mean from the Father. The Son came from the Father. So it all boils back down. It all points back to relational terms. So the relational terms that he holds between flesh and spirit, which is Father and Son, that's what's causing him to be able to be a record of himself as the Son, not just the flesh. Yes, flesh, but more than just flesh, son. And he's his own son. in one way. And he's also able to bear record of himself as the Father, and he's his own Father in another way. Now, let me show you all of that is in one person. Again, it's relational terms that's causing him to be able to be two different witnesses at the same time, but not two different persons. That's why he can do it and you can't. So you can't say, oh, my spirit could just bear witness of my body. No, it doesn't work because your spirit's not your own father. His spirit's his own father. He's his own father as the spirit, and he's his own son as the flesh. So he's responsible for his new existence as the son. You're not responsible for none of your existence. Somebody else got you here. Now, look. Oh, man, this is so deep. This is so deep. Watch him go back to pointing to himself when it comes to these two. Then they said to him, look at verse 9. Then they said to him, where is your father? Again, father is a relational term. Where is your father? Jesus answered, you know neither me nor my father. If you had known me, you would have known my father also. So when he mentions me, since he's mentioning my father, then that's identifying the me as son, right? And then when he mentions father, he's identifying the father as the son of as the father of the son. But he doesn't tell you to know the father outside of himself. He says, if you would have known me, you'd have known my father also. So it's all in one. So these two witnesses is all in one person. But the reason why he's able to bear record of himself and also the Father bear record of him, and yet both of those be him, is because there's relationship terms that apply to the two between flesh and spirit. Father and son is what's causing him to do that. So when Jesus functioned as a man, it wasn't just the flesh was functioning. It's the son was functioning. And when Jesus functioned as the Father, it wasn't just the Spirit was functioning. No, it was the Father was functioning. So it's not just humanity and divinity, it's Father and Son. And those terms that he holds, that's what's causing him to be able to function as two distinct things at the same time, because one of them is creator and the other is creature. But yet he's the creature as the man, and he's also the creator of the creature as the spirit, which makes him the Father and the Son, able to function as two distinct things at the same time and not be in violation to the law of two witnesses. There you have it, y'all. I hope you got that. That was a direct revelation from God the Father. Peace.